What's up, everyone? Welcome back to another episode with the Hawke's Nest. Appreciate you clicking on the video. Today is going to be a really fun and special one. I'm excited to do this one. Before we get into it, please make sure you like the video, subscribe to the channel so you receive notifications on when I post another one. But back to the video really quick. We're going to talk about how to sell your house without an agent. And this goes against my marketing manager's orders. Today, I want to provide value. You might be asking, why would I do that? You're a realtor, you're just gonna be shooting yourselves in the foot and lose clientele, right? Well, my whole goal is to provide value, that's number one, but two, to show you what really goes into selling a house. It's not just put your house on the market and boom, it sells and closes and you get paid. It's not how it works being an agent. So give me a minute, we're gonna get set up in the office here and then we're gonna jump right into it. I'm gonna show you tips, tricks, things to do, and how to sell your house. All right, guys, so you've decided you are selling your house, and I just want to start by saying I really hope this video helps and you selling your house gets you to your next chapter in life. I love seeing people scale up. That's the most important thing. So we're going to start with step one, and I covered this step in another video. I'm going to probably link it right here, but step one is prep work, and this is the most important piece in my opinion when it comes to selling a house. So starting with the outside, making sure curb appeal is on point. In this day and age, the market, everyone wants everything perfect, and it starts right from the outside. So maybe doing some mulch, some rock, some of those things you've been putting off. Spend a little bit of money and do that on the exterior, make it appealing from the outside. Another one, staging and editing your home. So instead of hiring a stager, you instead tweak the living spaces in your house. So change where your chairs, your furniture, things like that is sitting. Maybe open it up a little bit more. Optimizing the spaces in your house is going to be very important. And then lastly, pictures. I cannot stress the importance of having professional photography done. You see it all the time yourself on Facebook Marketplace. You are looking and scrolling and you see a house for sale, you click on it and the photos are taken with an iPhone or an Android. The buyers are saying the exact same thing, and I said this in the other video. The buyer is verifying during showings you are selling your house when you put that ad online. So make sure your photography is on point. If it's not, you're not gonna get traction, plain and simple. Next step, once your house is all prepped and ready for sale, is getting all your forms in order. So of course, I know what you need when you're listing a house, but you don't do this every day, so maybe you don't. Big one you're gonna need is Addendum S, which is the lead-based paint disclosure for any home built prior to 1978 in the state of Wisconsin. The real estate condition report, if you have lived in the property, there are a few exceptions where you do not need a real estate condition report, but for a traditional sale, you have lived in the property, you're trying to sell it outright, you will be required to have that real estate condition report. Another big form that you should put together for buyers is a home information sheet. So this talks about the age of the appliances, the roof, the furnace, the AC. What are some of the billing costs for your heating and cooling? You know, all these things buyers are asking. Another one is school district. What school districts are you in? If people have families and children, they want to know because maybe they want to be in a specific area. And of course, updates. What has been done to the property? That's a big one that buyers are going to question and know, because they can look things up public record. So they want to know, what have you done to raise its value to justify your asking price? So make sure you're putting together a list of all of these things for buyers to have. Another thing as far as forms that you could have for buyers is doing a pre-inspection. Actually have a home inspector come in, evaluate the property. Same with well and septic if you have a well and septic system. That will give buyers an immense amount of peace of mind, knowing that things have been inspected, a professional has come in and evaluated the property. You want to be as honest and forthcoming as possible when it comes to selling your house. Speaking of liability, jumping back to Addendum S really quick, the lead-based paint disclosure. I'm gonna put this is from the WRA, the Wisconsin Realtors Association. If a home sells without Addendum S being completed, there's no more than an $11,000 fine. But if you willfully violated lead-based paint laws, there could be imprisonment for not more than 1 year and a fine of not more than $100,000 for each day of violation. You can see where I'm going and why liability is so important. Here's a key reason why realtors exist. We make sure all your paperwork is in order. But that's going to be a really big one if your home is built prior to 1978. Make sure you have that one on file. But the next step is marketing. Of course, marketing the property. Marketing the property accurately is going to be a huge, the most important thing. I cannot stress this one enough either. All information you put out there, make sure it's accurate. If you have the wrong thing out there, that could come back and hurt you. Another thing too, make sure that you do not violate any fair housing laws when it comes to selling your house. There's 13 protected classes, and I'm going to list those right here for you. But you cannot discriminate against any of these classes. You need to make sure that you are being very open, transparent, and honest to anyone and everyone that comes through your property that is pre-approved and ready, willing, and able to purchase a home. And make sure you have some knowledge too when it comes to marketing with paid advertisements. So you're gonna wanna put some stuff out there, on Facebook and other social media platforms to get as many eyes as you can on your property. I mean, you don't wanna just put it on Marketplace and boom, it sells. Like, you are losing out on the pool of buyers, I can guarantee you. And that's where the MLS really comes in handy as realtors. We work in this industry day in and day out. We know ready, willing, and able buyers that are pre-approved, and we have them set up on searches and everything. So as soon as a house hits the market, these buyers get a notification right away via email, and they can take a look. So that's where the MLS really comes into play. So you want to offset that by having a ton of paid advertisements. I think you spend $100 to $200 worth of paid advertisements, that can go a long way for you. Now I want to mention one other thing too. Paper advertisements, truthfully in this day and age, I think for the most part it's dead. It does have its place though. Like, whenever I list a house, I send postcards, to the surrounding neighborhood, but don't just put out an ad on the newspaper or something like that. Like, that stuff is truthfully dead in my opinion. Social media is going to be your big ticket to get you the most eyes on your home. Now let's talk about showings. Showings are obviously the most important part of the process. It's how people get in the door and see your place. So a few things with that. One, make sure there is no guns, firearms, and ammunition. You don't want to have that liability. Second, make sure all of your prescription drugs are locked up. People steal that stuff. You don't want to fall victim to that. And then also candles, just don't light them. You're just risking a potential liability there too with a burning flame when other people are in the property. And a big one when it comes to showings, if you were for some reason going to allow someone in your home while you were away, make sure your key is not copied. That's where one thing with realtors, we have lock boxes where, keys are securely put in these boxes where no one has access to them, and you need an actual code to open up the lock box and gain access to that key. And then the realtor holds on to the key for the whole showing. So if there's for some reason, if you were gonna have someone do a showing when you weren't there, safe to say just don't do it and just make yourself available for them. Now, when it comes to actual showings, make sure all the lights are on for buyers when they come through the property. You wanna make sure that you create a warm and welcoming environment. Another thing too, pets. Make sure that litter boxes are cleaned up if you have a cat, and they're tucked away. They're not in the bathroom on the floor or anything like that. Make sure countertops and floors are clean. This includes vacuuming. If you have pets, prime reason you don't want any fur out. And also just no one wants dirt on any floors in general. Also, make sure all of those forms that I told you earlier to have ready are out and available for buyers to look through. This is where the inspections really come in handy. You can have the buyers looking at these inspections and talking through everything while you're there. That would really give people peace of mind. And again, it just shows how much you've cared for your property to actually take time and have those done. A few other things I want to mention. In the bathrooms, make sure all the toilet seats are down. You do not want to go to a showing and have a toilet seat up and someone forgot to flush, something like that. Beds need to be made. Nobody wants to see a bed half made or dirty, blankets everywhere, pillows everywhere. You want it to be clean, and there's no major clutter, as people like to say, in the rooms. You want to have a nice walking path in every single room so that that creates a flow within the house. People also like to look in closets. They like to gauge how much closet space there are. So make sure there's nothing in your closets that is unsafe, or again, the liability. This is where the firearms really comes into play. A lot of people like to tuck those in the closet sometimes. And also just things in general, if you don't want the buyers to see anything that's in your closet and you want that privacy, just make sure that's hidden, tucked away, put in your car, something like that. I feel like a lot of this stuff can sometimes be common sense, but we don't think about it when we're selling our house. You know, we think some of these little things are okay if it's like that, but I strongly encourage you to really be a perfectionist throughout this whole process. Make sure everything is truly perfect for people when they're coming through your house. Now, let's say we've done all of that stuff and you have finally received an offer. First off, congratulations, super excited for you. Now, when you have that accepted offer, you need to make sure all the paperwork is in order because again, you're doing this by yourself. So making sure the offer to purchase, you have that, making sure any additional addendums. So there's a line, I'll plug this right now, the addendum at the bottom of the offer. They might attach addendum A, addendum B, addendum S, things like that. Make sure you have anything that's attached on that offer. You want to make sure that there's a pre-approval. This is a huge one. You don't want to really accept an offer if they're not pre-approved because you're in a legally binding contract once you sign that and it's delivered back, as long as everything is in order on the paperwork, you have a legally binding contract. That's something you can ask buyers when you're at the showing. Hey, are you pre-approved? Oh, who are you pre-approved through? Do you have a pre-approval letter that you could send to me? Those are big things that people need to be sharing with you when it comes to an offer. I also, just a rule of thumb, on any addendums or any additional paperwork like the home information sheet that you put together, make sure the buyers initial that and date it. That way there's evidence and proof that they have actually seen these inspections and everything. Last thing you want to do is then later on say, well, I didn't get that or you didn't show me that. By you having their initials and them dating it, right then and there, you're protecting yourself. Again, liability. So before accepting that offer, you really have 4 options with what you can do. You know, you can accept the offer as is if you like all the terms. You can reject it if you don't like the offer. You can counter the offer if you would like, you know, if you want to try and negotiate with the buyer a little bit, or you can just let it expire. You know, there's deadlines on these offers and there are certain ways that they have to be delivered in order for things to be legally binding. So making sure that you get the deadlines if you're just going to accept it, making sure the deadline is the binding acceptance date. I'll plug that right now for you. Making sure you meet it within that date is going to be very, very important. And it's delivered. I'll show you this section as well. This section talks about how documents can be delivered to make things legally binding. Just making sure all the paperwork is in order and you have everything you need is going to be crucial. Now you've accepted the offer or you have an accepted offer, congratulations. Now you want to make sure all the contingencies are met. So now you have earnest money. You want to make sure that's delivered within the amount of time that's in the offer. The home inspection, if you didn't do any inspections, if they have that contingency within their offer, you want to make sure that is completed and the buyers have to set all that up. And also you need to make your home available for those inspectors to go in a timely manner. There's a lot of things when it comes to selling your house and contingencies that need to be met when you're going through this process. And you want to be on top of that. So tracking your deadline days or your buyer's deadline days is going to be really important. And I'm talking as if you know everything that I am saying, right? The biggest thing is to read through the contract and make sure you understand everything in there and what happens if something isn't met. Do you have the right to cure on certain things? There's another video that I have done when it comes to buying a house where I talked about the right to cure section. I'll plug that here so you can see that too. If one thing is missed through this transaction or some of these contingencies, it might give the buyer a way out. So you want to make sure that you're protected and your offer actually goes through and closes. Also, if repairs are needed, you want to make sure that you're getting that done and documentation is provided, because I can almost guarantee more than likely the lender is going to require a copy of receipts or contract or invoices of repairs that were done if you do an amendment to the offer to purchase and the buyer's requesting you to make some repairs per inspections. And lastly too, you need to make sure that you are turning in the accepted offer to a title company. You need to choose a title company so they can begin the process with the title search. And from there, you want to verify that all the title work is in order. So you want to actually review the deed, review the title search. They will email you a copy of the title work or commitment. And you want to make sure that everything on that commitment is in order as well. You're also going to want to verify when you are
getting ready to close, they're going to send you a closing disclosure. You're going to make sure all the fees are in order and correct. You want to make sure that any prorations, such as taxes, are a big one. Also, like if you have an LP tank, for example, the LP tank, if you're getting a proration for that, making sure that is on there. You want to make sure that the title company has everything set, because as soon as both sides sign and it's done and the lender funds the loan, it's a done deal and it's over with. And so if you're a week out from closing now and everything's going smoothly and you've gotten to that point, now you need to remember all the things you need to do on the other side of the transaction, not involved with the paperwork. Water meter, that's another big one. You're gonna wanna make sure your water meter is read at closing so the proration is taken care of and the final water bill is sent and you're not paying any additional water after you no longer live in the property. Make sure your electric and gas company, if you have those, make sure those services are canceled as well so you're not paying anything additional. Make sure you do that, otherwise you might be on the hook for paying some extra bills there. A big thing too, not to forget, is make sure that all your keys that you have, make sure those are left for the buyer. Along with garage door openers, that's a really big one. I've actually had to run back to the buyer that I just helped close, run back to the property and give them a garage door opener that they forgot in their visor. So now you're at the closing table. Congratulations, this is the best part. This is where you get paid. So now you're going to actually be at the closing table with a closer from the title company. You're going to sign the deed, again, do one last check on the closing disclosure, making sure everything is true and accurate there. And then you'll fill out some information with how you want to get your proceeds. So you want to make sure your account information, you have that. If they're just going to wire it, that's pretty common. Or of course, the title company can just cut a check, a physical check at closing to you, and then you can run to the bank. But just remember that they will not issue a check until the buyer has come in, signed, and the loan is funded. So that, my friends, is how you sell a house. I really hope this video helped and it was truly valuable. Of course, if you instead don't want to go through all that hassle and have someone helping you every step of the way, that's what I'm here for. Feel free to reach out. I have my email in my bio. Otherwise, my social medias, Bailey Hawke James HQ. Look me up, DM me. Happy to help any way I can. Thank you guys for clicking on my latest video. It really means the world to me that you took time out of your day to watch it. If you found this content informational and valuable, please like the video, subscribe to the channel. This is how I gauge what you want me to bring to the table and what's important to you guys. And this is what keeps me going. So until the next video, I really appreciate you stopping in at the Hawk's Nest, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Take care.